What is good, flockers? That is my fellow lockers and aspiring lockers. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and make sure to hit that button so you can join the flock. And also make sure to hit that like button so I can know what kind of content you all are enjoying. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the things that I've noticed in the last 7 months of my journey, and specifically giving a 7-month update. So if you're interested in hearing those things, then stick around. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the things that I have noticed on month 7 of this Microloc journey. A lot of times there are a lot of things that seem very similar from month to month, and there's not that much change at times, but then there's other times where you do notice big differences. And the first big difference I would say that I've noticed, which when you look at your hair every single day, sometimes it's hard to see that there's any growth or any type of change happening, but when you look at this picture of my day 1, it is very obvious that my locks have done some changing, have done some maturing within the last 7 months. So that's my first thing that I do to kind of stay positive on the journey and just see how far I've come. 7 months isn't that long time, but even in 7 months, I can already see a huge difference from where they were on day 1 to now, from the size of the locks, from the maturation of the locks, the fuzziness of the locks. There's a lot of different things I can see. So I have a list that I'm going to go through. So if you see me looking down, then that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at the list. One of the main things that I've noticed in month 7 is that I am noticing a lot more budding. I've been budding probably since month 2 or 3, but it was very small. And now I feel like in month 7, I have so many buds happening that it's just a normal thing that my locks are all different sizes in different places because they're swelling in different areas. Some are budding up closer to where not towards the roots, but closer to the top of the lock. And then I have some that are budding in the middle, and then I have some that are budding at the end. And so there's really no way to know where your locks are gonna bud, because different locks bud in different places, which is the beauty of it. And I'm trying to find one now. You always get on camera. Okay, so here's one. If you can see that at the bottom, it is budding and getting fatter. I'm trying not to pull on it, but you can see that it's fatter at the end than the rest of that. And so that's what I mean when I say that I have budding at the ends. I've got a lot that are budding at the ends. And then I don't know if I'll be able to find one of the ones that I had some major budding in the middle, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that they are progressing and that they're budding. I was able to find one. Here we have one that's budding in the middle. It's not too crazy, but you can see that there is some fuzziness going on and some budding right there where it is thicker than the rest of the lock. So that is something that I have noticed in month 7 as opposed to other months, is the amount of budding that I'm having all throughout my entire head. Something else that I'm noticing on month 7 more than I have on previous months is that the locks that are more mature and the ones that have been budding and swelling for the longest period of time are the ones that are not as stretchy. I feel like all of my locks for the most part are still stretchy, especially right now because I'm close to needing a retie. I think I'm on week 5. Maybe 4.5, so I'll be doing a retie probably pretty soon and try to film that so I can take you all along for that process. But yeah, when I first installed my locks back in May, installed the braids, they were very stretchy. You know, if it was like this, I could pull it, and that thing, I mean, this one still is, because this one is but you see, like, it's very stretchy. I can pull it down pretty far. Hey, length. But then there's some which, like I said, especially in the back, because I feel like the back for most people is where your locks mature the fastest. Like this one, there's not as much give. There still is, because it's not fully mature yet, but it, you know, especially like I said, the ones in the back, because they've matured quicker, they don't have as much give to them. Most of the stretching that you see right now is coming from the new growth that I have that will need to be retied in a week or so, but not from the actual length of the lock, whereas some others are still stretchy throughout the entire lock. Something else that I've noticed pretty much every month of this journey, but even more so in month 7, is the amount of frizziness that is happening, and I'm loving it. The braid pattern for me is disappearing. Again, I've said this before, but I attribute that to, well, one, to hair texture. I attribute it to the amount of washing that I do. I wash my hair once, sometimes twice a week. I also attribute it to the fact that I use oil in my locks since day one. And I also attribute it to the fact that when I did start my braids, I did not braid too tightly. I intentionally tried to braid pretty loose throughout my head. Of course, by the time I got to the front, you know, one, I wanted them to look a little bit smaller and neater. And then also I was just tired because I was on like day 4 or something. So I wasn't paying as much attention to how tightly I was braiding. But if I give you a close-up shot, I mean, when you get close, you can obviously see that I still have the braid pattern and it's still prevalent. But again, if you look back to day 1 of that photo from day 1, you could see the braids from a mile away. Now, you know, even when I'm looking in the mirror, sometimes I'm like, oh wow, I have to look to see the braid pattern. And again, all of my locks are maturing at different stages. So there's some that when you look at them, you know, you can't see braid pattern at all. And there's not really a line of demarcation. You can see a little bit of demarcation from the section that is interlocked, as that part is still, you know, tighter wound and more compact than the part that is braided. But yeah, for the most part, a lot of the braids are starting to disappear. And again, I'm 7 months in, so hoping by the time I get to 1 year that even more of the braid pattern will be gone. So yeah, as you see, again, you have to get really close in order to see the braid pattern on a lot of them. And most people are not up in my face this close, so they're not seeing the braid pattern. When I'm just at a normal length talking to people, they don't see them. People think that I have sister locks. People think that I have, you know, mature micro locks and all of that. So that's been awesome. But I do correct people when they tell me that they like my sister locks or brother locks and let them know that they technically are not sister locks or brother locks. They're just DIY micro locks. Something else that I have noticed in month 7 is that my hair is getting thicker and fuller, and this literally happens every month. It gets a little fuller, a little thicker, but I feel like within the last month, my locks have really been swelling a lot. And as I've shown already with the budding, I just feel like because there's so much budding happening and because it's happening in different places in the different locks, that it adds to the fullness of the hair. Because, you know, this lock might be budding up here, and then the next lock might be budding in the middle, and then the next lock is budding at the bottom. And so you've got these different layers of budding, and so it causes your hair to be fuller and thicker. So I'm loving that part of the fact that the locks are fuller, they're thicker, and they just seem to be maturing along wonderfully. And the final thing that I have noticed in month 7 is the shrinkage. Now, I think because I started my locks with braids that, you know, starting locks with braids allows you to keep more of your length for longer, and it minimizes some of the shrinking that you would have as opposed to starting with other starting methods. So there's still shrinkage, but it is minimal. And when I wash my hair, obviously it's weighed down, and so it hangs a little bit lower. But again, I'm not having major shrinkage, but I do notice from the moment that I wash my hair, where my hair will be hanging like this, for example, and then when it's dry, it's up here. I have no problem with the shrinkage. I'm loving every step, every process, or every step of the process, and I'm loving them as they are. I have no problem with the shrinkage. I think it's an exciting part of the process and getting to learn your hair. And I just know that the way that my hair looks now in month 7 is not how it's gonna look in month 10 or 12 or a year and a half from now. So I'm really trying to embrace it how it is now, because I've been on previous lock journeys before, and I've said this in other videos, you know, once you've gotten to a certain stage, yes, you have goals and you're excited to get to those new stages, but you'll never be able to go back to the starter lock stage unless you start your locks all over. And even then, it's gonna be a new set of locks. It's gonna mature differently, and you just can never repeat the exact same process. So I'm enjoying where I am now. I'm loving it. And yeah, that is my 7-month update. So thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around to the very end, you are a true one. Again, if you have not hit that subscribe button and joined the flock, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and also make sure to hit that like button so I know that you're enjoying this content. Thank you so much for supporting me and helping my channel grow. And I hope that this information has been helpful to you. Continue to watch my other videos. I'm trying to keep a chronological order of my month-to-month journey, as well as lock talks and other things on this channel. So yeah, just stick around, and remember, always go out of your way to be kind to people. You never know what's going on in someone's life, so take an extra moment in your day to just be kind, smile at someone, say something nice. Have a great day, night, evening, whatever. Bye.